Welcome to our podcast. I am Primus, and you are listening to Behind the Scenes at Octavius Reviews. We hope that you enjoy our broadcast and think of us kindly. For a glossary of terms and nomenclature, please see the description. Also, check our site for more detailed information on the games and for links to the demos, as a convenience, of course. Thank you for listening.
Welcome back to OctaviusReviews.com, Behind the Scenes, and I am your host, Janis. I'm joined today by my best friend and coworker, Primus. You're listening to episode 14 in the season, Tradeoffs and the Middle Way, episode 5 of our 6-part series, The Clockwork Playbook.
Welcome back, Internet. Tonight is the night. We have spent 4 episodes throwing punches over algorithmic certainty versus player autonomy. Tonight, we take off the velvet gloves. We are entering a structured, rapid-fire debate, exploring the messy middle way where these design philosophies actively collide.
This is the core engineering crucible. We are evaluating 3 fundamental trade-offs that define modern game development: balance versus surprise, Q&A verification versus emergent fun, and monetization scale versus player authorship. We will execute 90-second rapid rounds with 0 safety nets. Let us begin with trade-off 1, balance versus surprise. Primus, the floor is yours.
Balance is the enemy of awe, Janis. When a designer obsesses over numerical equity, they sanitize the universe. Look at Dwarf Fortress. The beauty of that simulation doesn't come from a tightly balanced resource curve. It comes from deep, cascading systems rubbing together until something unscripted catches fire. You can have a minor engineering oversight, a single unsealed irrigation valve that triggers a localized flood. That flood causes psychological panic in a miner, which cascades into a tavern-wide mental breakdown, completely melting down a 5-year-old mountain fortress in 20 minutes. It is a glorious, unscripted tragedy. If the developers had restricted those cascading variables to guarantee a balanced user experience, that legendary player narrative could never exist.
90 seconds on the clock for the rebuttal. Structural integrity is the only reason that tragedy holds any emotional weight, Primus. Without predictable boundaries, a cascade isn't a narrative, it is just a broken software crash. Look at RimWorld. Its AI storytellers like Randy Random or Cassandra Classic operate on highly deterministic thresholds. The storyteller tracks your colony's total wealth down to a single silver coin, evaluates your current defensive capabilities, and deploys a raid sequence at a precise mathematical tipping point. It isn't unhinged chaos. The engine intentionally scales the threat metrics to push your colony to the absolute brink of a breakdown without completely destroying the save file. The designer uses deterministic thresholds to engineer the feeling of a cinematic crisis while maintaining systemic fairness. Without that hidden mathematical guardrail, the simulation collapses into arbitrary frustration.
A fair hit. But let us move immediately to trade-off 2, Q&A verification versus emergent fun. My turn to lead. Look at The Sims 4. The entire engine is built on simple, deterministic social rules. Yet, when you let those micro-rules run autonomously in a sandbox, they produce completely unexpected, human microdramas. You can have 2 characters executing baseline conversation loops at a party, and a tiny, unscripted trait collision causes a sudden relationship betrayal that alters a multi-generational family line. If a Q&A testing pipeline demanded absolute verification for every single autonomous social outcome, a game with that level of emergent variability could never pass certification. Designers must be willing to sacrifice complete software predictability to give the player a living, breathing canvas.
Rebuttal sequence active. The danger of sacrificing verification is that you often end up delivering a fundamentally broken product. Consider survival sandboxes like Minecraft. The rule set is beautifully minimal, blocks have weights, items have crafting recipes, and monsters have basic detection ranges. Because the baseline rules are perfectly verified and deterministic, player choices can create long-form survival sagas across a single, repeatable world seed. If a player spends 3 months building an elaborate base defense, their ultimate victory or heartbreaking loss holds weight because the environment behaves according to immutable laws. If the spatial geometry or enemy spawn rules weren't perfectly verified by the engineering team, a block could randomly phase out of existence and erase 300 hours of player authorship. You cannot build a lasting monument on shifting sand.
We are flying now. Let us close it out with Trade-off 3, scale and authorial ownership. Look at Crusader Kings 3. It uses rule-driven dynastic systems to generate personal, often completely absurd historical narratives. You aren't playing a scripted campaign, you are navigating succession laws, genetic traits, and political alliances. A sudden, unexpected succession crisis caused by an unscripted assassination can completely fracture your empire, forcing you to play as a backstabbing cousin 3 steps removed from the throne. The scale of the game is massive because the developers let the dynastic systems generate the narrative, giving the player absolute ownership over their historical fallout.
Final rebuttal on the clock. That dynastic scale only functions because the underlying economic and political nodes are perfectly rigid. Look at Kenshi or Mountain Blade 2, Bannerlord. In Bannerlord, a player's small decision, like executing a minor lord or altering a local trade route, can snowball into a kingdom-scale geopolitical consequence. Factions shift, wars break out, and regional power balances rewrite themselves. But under that massive campaign scale is a strictly deterministic economy. Towns calculate food supply, prosperity, and garrison costs based on absolute mathematical formulas. If the developer doesn't use those rigid formulas to anchor the simulation, the entire world scale dissolves into incoherent nonsense within 10 hours of gameplay. It is the exact lesson of Project Zomboid. The survival simulation feels intensely human because the resource scarcity and zombie AI spawn loops are bound by relentless mathematical precision. Your heartbreaking survival choice only matters because the rules of the apocalypse are unyielding.
So we are back to the middle way. The math must be flawless, so the human chaos can be meaningful.
Exactly, Primus. The playbook isn't about choosing a side. It is about understanding that the clockwork exists solely to elevate the play. To summarize our rapid rounds tonight, great design uses absolute mathematical structure to protect the sanctity of unscripted human stories.
I hate how clean that summary is, Janis, but I'll let you have it. Because next week is our grand finale. Episode 6, Human Stories and Closing Synthesis.
We are bringing everything together. We will look at real-world player anecdotes and lay out our definitive hybrid design checklist for the industry.
And we are opening up the floor for the listeners to vote on who actually won this season's debate. See you next time for the final shutdown, Internet.